In a racist society, we can no longer be silent. We must speak up. We must speak up for racial equality and justice.
Black Lives Matter.
And although seemingly small, these subtle acts build up to have powerful influence on our work and social environment and the individual's mental and emotional health.
It could be so subtle. Like when you hear someone say, "You're really pretty for a black girl. You aren't really like the rest of them." Or when you hear people pass comments like, "He must be a drug dealer. She's an angry black woman." And sometimes not even as direct as that. A customer service agent not making eye contact with you. A cashier putting your change on the table as opposed to in your hands like he did for everybody else. Having your mortgage denied. Being placed at the back of a restaurant when all the other tables in front are free.
Black Lives Matter.
At work, you might be overlooked for opportunities, clearly experienced and qualified for, scoring lower on your performance evaluation without any reason, being misunderstood and taken in the wrong way. If you're respectful, you're too quiet. If you're passionate, you're too aggressive.
Be aware that this is everyone's issue, not just the black community. Let's open our eyes. Do we really want to live in an unjust world? All our silences in the face of racist assault are acts of complicity.
Privilege is when you don't think something is a problem because it's not a problem to you personally. No action is action.
Just because it isn't your direct problem, it doesn't mean it isn't a problem. Open your eyes to the oppression, marginalization, and discrimination.
To diminish the suffering of the black community excuses you from the responsibility to be anti-racist. You must see race to combat racism.
Black Lives Matter.
To better recognize your privilege, take notice of oppression that you don't experience, like getting called for an interview, getting into a club, getting ahead in line, your change given in the palm of your hand.
We've got to remember that 55% of the way we communicate is through our body language.
Let's look at the current reality. Things have changed now. The truth is out, and it's not going away until we take responsibility. Responsibility, the ability to respond. It's not enough to talk about racism. You must strive to be anti-racist and fight against policies and practices.
Microaggressions and covert racism are oftentimes unintentional. Regardless of your intentions, accept and understand your error. Confront your internalized prejudices by learning more about racism.
Black Lives.
The world that we live in is one that we never imagined. It's time to wake up to the responsibility we all have as fellow citizens.
Where do we want to be? Rosa Parks said, "You must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right." And she also told us to stand up for something or you will fall for anything. Today's mighty oak is yesterday's nut that held its ground. And we know how to be racist. We know how to pretend to be not racist. Now let's know how to be anti-racist. How are we going to get there? We're going to get there by the actions that we take. So we've got to learn to speak up, take responsibility for our own behavior, not just our intention. So we need to check our thoughts, check our language, and check our actions. Ask ourselves, why did I automatically think the worst of this person? Or why didn't I stand up for that person? We need to speak up or amplify issues of inequity and injustice. We need to speak up and ask, how can I support you right now? What help do you need? We need to reflect on our experiences in the past and think, how will I change things in the future? Racist acts are defined by impact, not intent. So we've got to listen, learn, and understand how to confront racist ideologies.
Black Lives Matter.
When you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. That's where your power is, in how you choose to respond. The choice is yours, and that's your power.
Awareness is the first step to empowering ourselves to actively break this cycle of oppression. Check ourselves and check our friends and families and how they subtly discriminate against any marginalized race in our society.
Call it, question the intention, and share the impact from your perspective. Studies show that people who speak up about even the most subtle discrimination gain more self-esteem and relieve the buildup of stress, while those who don't report it suffer more stress and a lower self-esteem.
Black Lives Matter.
We can make a difference one person at a time. Ask yourself, what's your example or experience with racism? Have you witnessed any of these examples happening to others? How did you react? What are your thoughts and feelings about subtle racism that happens to others? Who can stop interpersonal racism?
Ask ourselves, who can stop institutional racism when we see policies and practices that are supported by power and authority that benefit some and disadvantage others?
How does racism affect you personally? Have you had opportunities or privileges as a result of your race? What stereotypes about blacks scare you? Where did you learn about these stereotypes? Besides the media, have you actually experienced these stereotypes? Have you promoted them? What have you done to validate them? What have you done to stop others from promoting these stereotypes? Would you want to be treated like a black person? Why? And why not? Act.
Think.
Now, Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives